Okay, with our last video here, what I want to do is show you some of the lessons that coming here towards the end of the book, which I do techniques, what I call flow texture techniques. You'll see them here in like the rose here, painting the rose. Wonderful type of technique. The paint is very, very thick. The background is on quite heavy, so I'm working with heavy amounts of paint, and I'm putting on and lifting off that amounts of paint. I do it also here with the wild roses here, this one, and you get this beautiful lifting off of these colors. And if we can come in a little bit closer here, you see this kind of real translucency to the colors and lifting off, and just it's just a beautiful application of colors and traveling of colors through. You get these nice shimmery little marks and stuff through there. I love that. And then I also do this with like the Edwardian flowers here. Whoops, let's get that back just a bit here, and building these flowers here. Which is, we use it kind of heavy, and we do what do we call, we put the colors on and we lift the colors off. Okay, so I just want to paint a flower or so with you, so you can see generally some of the techniques I do and how my brush works with it. Since we have so many variety of flowers, there's lots of step photos for you to follow, but I just want to talk you through so you can get an idea and a feeling for some of the techniques that we're going to use. Here I have a dark background. Let's step back just a little bit here. A little bit more. There we go. And so I have a dark background. And what I want to do is come in and put down some color. We can put down any color. Let's put down a very soft kind of a tone, kind of green color here. So we'll use some of this. We'll grab some red to keep it kind of toned down, red and black in here. But that'll be nice. A little bit of light, so it's a little bit lighter here. And so I paint always into a wet background when I do these types of techniques. That allows me as the artist to control my colors a bit. So I want to put down some wet color here. We'll go kind of green. Some of it we'll let it go a little blue up here. And again, with a lot of the techniques, it's all going to be how much paint you put on the surface. And when I do flow texturing techniques like this, I like the paint to be a little bit thicker. So this will be a quite a bit different for some of you. And it's the paint being thicker, you get a better reaction to your colors and lifting off and shadowing. And your colors, the painting that you're doing is approached slower, if that makes sense, because the background absorbs all your colors quicker because there's a little bit more of it onto the surface. Okay, you're an artist, and an artist utilizes a full toolbox, a whole bunch of different types of techniques to create things. What you don't want to do is get paint is stuck in a rut, always doing the same thing all the time. So we have one of the things, the beauties of alla prima techniques and paintings like this is the amount of color and stuff that we use on our backgrounds. And so we need to learn that alla prima, wet into wet. Well, wet into wet, one of the most powerful things you have is how much different the color is on your background. It's going to make everything feel a little bit different. Okay, so let's just paint a flower, and let's paint maybe a white or reddish kind of peachy apricot rose or something like that. We'll just paint a flower in here so you can just get the idea, whether it's doing Edwardian flowers and stuff, or doing the rose or doing the wild roses. I'm using basically the same types of techniques. I'm going to come in here. One of the first things that I generally do is try to find my centers and cool my color. So I'm going to come in here and cool down an area. Let's paint like a rose, and let's open the rose up a bit here too. We'll open it up a little bit more, so not quite so closed down. So I'll find the center and I'll cool down the colors of the center, working this in here. So you see the color works, and I work my brush in many different techniques, and it's almost like sketching it around here. I'll push some out this way here like this, because we're going to open this up a bit. So we'll push that out, and sometimes I'll take my finger and soften it out. So in some of the set photos, you'll see me softening colors out here like this until I can begin to see the flower shape a little bit. I always ask myself then to start to develop how much contrast. I'll sometimes pick up a little red and black. Now's your darkest, coolest contrasting color is that red, violet, and black, because that's cool and very, very dark and contrasty. Here, it tends to kill the painting. The black will tend to kill the flower really quick, so you don't want to use too much of that. But I'll start to really model and get some heavy reds in here. Now, when I paint like this, I like to get these shadows really, really heavy, because I'm going to be lifting off some of this color later on to reveal that shadow. So we really want to establish this heavy color here. Down just like that. Nice heavy shadow. And if you see what I'm doing when I'm painting this, I'm using a lot of color and I'm just laying it on the surface. I'm not blending it in. I'm not working it in like this to make one color. I'm just laying it onto the surface, and it's almost like, you know what I always say, it's almost like troweling it on, like a palette knife, just putting it on there. So when I paint like this, I do very little pressure down into the flower. I want to put that like this. Here's the base color, then here's the shadow color, and here's going to be my next color. And so later on I can come in and lift off and reveal some of that shadowing and stuff later on. For example, let me show you here. Let's go kind of a peachy color here. Let's take a little yellow, and peachies are really kind of orangey kind of color, slightly to the yellowish side here. And we'll pick up a little white. Let's try a little color like this, and we'll gray this down just a bit. But if I lay this color on here like this, let's say I just lay that across like that, see? And you go, oh, you just destroyed your shadow. No, because the color and the way in which I laid it on, it's really thick, I just pinch wipe my brush like this, and I can remove that right back off like this, see? I can pinch wipe my brush, and I can remove that back off, and take that back off. That's how thick that color is in there. So what I do is I build a flower, putting on lights and darks and back and forth and lifting off, revealing back some of my shadow. So I push into it. This is a lot of paint, a lot of texture paint, and that's what gives you this lovely variation. So we first want to come in and model some colors. Let's put some of our peachy, some of our reddish colors in here. And again, we're not going to blend them in. We're just going to lay them in here. Let's put some reddish tones in here. Just kind of move those tones into that flower there. Let's put some in here. Okay. Let's drop some in here. Some of this beautiful reddish type of tone. And you can see you can get some real powerful reds here too, because you're just laying the color right on top of the surface here, see? Just laying that right on top of the surface here. So we'll get some of that reddish tone in there. We'll get some of these yellows, so we'll go from the reds to the peaches here. We'll lay some of that yellowy tone in here. I'm just putting it on. See how this modeled, how thick this color gets? And in the lessons, you'll see me show you pictures of the palette always, and state several times, look how thick the paint is on my palette, because I'm working at building this color in really thick. Now I can soften any of this and push this around a little bit, and see how I can push in and reveal this and reveal the shadow again, and push some of this around and move this around here. And it feels awesome. It just feels so wonderful just pushing this around, just like marble, marbling and stuff. It's just, you get this real marbling feeling to this flower this way. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll come in and we'll pick up some light. We'll do this on the palette. See, it's modeled in here. See, matter of fact, let me just take a second here and show this up real close. You can see what happens here on this palette. See, as I pick up this real thick white and I set it here, I model it through. I don't mix it. I model it like this, so you get this variations, almost like a striations of color going through, and that's what I want. I want this modeled on my brush, so I get all kinds of different colors showing through on my brush. I don't go in there and mix it down to one color. I model it down to the color. And I can come out through here like this and just lay, and I'll roll the brush sometimes to deposit, and see how it deposits this color in different variations like that. And I can pick up and push and lift up here. Sometimes I will lift off like this and push in a little edge to the flower. Sometimes I'll put it in a little heavier and not do that, and I'll just kind of draw the edge of the flower down like this. And let's just paint a pretty little flower here. Sometimes I'll lift it, sometimes I'll push it, but I get this, I'm looking for this lovely streaking of the color. So I'll pick up some more heavy color here. Let's model the front of this a bit here. And I can lift off like this to lift off and just push up a little light edge to that petal there like that. So I get a little variation to it. If I want to get more red or something down in there, I add it. I can add some more red in there first before I do that, and lift off and then lift and push that up. I'm directing the color. I'm putting on really, really thick color and then directing it to where I want it to go into the flower. So here we'll model some more of this here, and I really put on really heavy, heavy paint, and this is what gives you that lovely variation. So when you see this right in here, that's just really heavy paint going around there like that. And I love that thick, thick, thick paint. So I'll use that thick, thick, thick paint like that, so you can even see the texture that's on it. I'm not worried about that. I just barely touch the surface with the brush, and I can pull that down, or I can wipe my brush like this, and I can lift that right back up off like that to bring up more of my shadow color that I might want to have with that particular petal like there, like that. So I can control that. If I think I put on too much, then I lift off to reveal the shadow. If I think I have enough, then maybe I pull down to build that a little bit more. And each petal I let be a little different here, and pull that little petal up there like that, and take the edge of this real heavy little color. Let's just draw a little edge of a petal out here like this, and maybe give a little bit of a feeling of pulling down there like that. See, it's a pretty little petal there, see, and little edges and stuff of that. Maybe I'll take just a little corner of this and drop around and into the back here, and wipe my brush and lift off. See, so I do just as much lifting off as I do putting on here, and swing that down around like that here. Maybe push that on there like that. Now if I want this to be more transparent, I just lift off like that, wipe my brush, lift off, and let that petal there come up just right up over the edge. If I want it to be a little heavier, maybe a little more peachy color, I'll go ahead and add more peach color, and then lift that shadow off like that. So there's all kinds of variations you can use to paint these little guys and shape them up to what you might want to have on your flower. Take a little red and yellow in here into the center. Let's push this back just a bit. See, I can direct that and just push it out of the way because my color's so thick. I can just push that one right out of the way there. And let's just restate that petal a little differently, a little softer. There we go. Push a little bit of that around in there like that. And let's build a little more light up here onto this side of the rose. Lift off some of that shadow. And you can always take your finger up and take it way out too, because I have that shadow underneath there. And I do that sometimes if I want to really get a nice soft little bit there on the rose. A little softer feel to it. There. And then you can, if you stroke it again, you soften everything out. So the more you stroke it, you can see, the more I stroke it here, the softer it becomes. And so that is, that's up to you how much you want to have on it. I'm going to redefine some of this red back in here again. So see, you can come back in and put that red back on. And there you go. We have that back like that. And the little petals coming out here onto the edges. And they can draw in like this, and you can pull out. You can see I can pull and push all different kinds of ways here. All different ways here, and give different shapes and feelings to the petals here. Put in a little bit more of an edge and lift off to that edge like that to get more of let more of the background show through, so my petal becomes a little bit more transparent feeling. If I lift off like that, see, my petal feels more transparent because I'm revealing the background through it. And pick up just a little bit of the light out here. So open this one up just a bit. Sketch that out. Get a little movement out there like that. And I was going to open this flower up a little bit more than what it was. So, see, I'm going to show you. You can come back in here, and let's just push some of this paint right out of the way with some thicker paint. Because I was going to open this up a little bit more. So we'll just push it right out of the way here. This is the beautiful part about this thick, highly pigmented paint. We can do these types of techniques here. So now I'll keep a little bit of that motion in there, but I'll open that rose up a little bit more here. And then how you go about shadowing and coloring and stuff like that, that's up to you. And you'll see, and I'll use these types of techniques on those Edwardian roses to push and pull and put the light colors in and around. And on those wild roses, so you'll have some different shapes that you can try here. Let that color stay right there like that. Lift off to that edge and just soften that edge a bit. This is a little bit much of a V shape right here for me, so we'll just soften that V just a bit and give this petal down. So that comes like that, maybe. That's a nice feeling to that. Use this little edge and draw another little feel of a petal there like that on there. So you can see here, you can do all kinds of things here. They're really a lot of fun to paint. Put the color on, tap in a little, and push it around into position, sometimes lifting off. And sometimes drawing it on until you get the movement that you really want to have in your flower. Yeah, so here's some nice. And of course, you might want to, some of these, vary the edges out here a little bit more. I got them a little round, so you might want to vary the edges and softly apply some little touches, little sparklies of it. I like to put those around the back. That gives you the feeling of, back petals and stuff. This, all different kinds of roses. Sometimes you'll pick up petals back here in the back like this. And you can just suggest them really quite easy, just like that. Just suggest them. Get a little more yellow over here. And maybe sometimes I like to put, light right on the edge of the bowl too. You'll see that there's, thousands of ways to do it. But this is, the thing is, I put it on. See, it's real thick, and I just lay it on very lightly with the brush like this. So it's on there really quite heavy. It's not disturbing the the color or the shadow underneath. I'm not blending it into the shadow. I'm laying it on top of the shadow. So if I want, I can wipe my brush like this and reveal the shadow, see? And that revealing that shadow is so important for some of the looks in the flowers. It gives it such a lovely, lovely look to it. So, and that's, we want to be able to capture some of these techniques. So a lot of the painters of old did just as much lifting out as they did applying color, putting it on and then lifting it out. It just gave you so many different looks. There we go. Just like that. It makes a nice little rose, but you have all different kinds of ways, and you can make them lighter and peach color, like I did on this one, really light and peachy color. Here's a little bit darker color here, and again, it's just how much light you're going to use. But see all this little edge. This is what you get by playing this back and forth like that. See these little edges and the movement of the color, and see I can do this. This is what I like to do, is I like to set it down and I can lift it off and push this right into the position that I want. And that's because my color is so stiff and it's thick. And that's where that real stiff white starts to come into play here now. When you look at my palette, with my colors in there. They're all modeled together. They're not blended together. And I can sit here and I can push this color around. See, I can push that color around. So that shows you that the color that's on there is very, very thick. You can't do this with thinner bottled acrylics or any of those other acrylics that we have. They're too thin. You need to get your white thicker, get your colors up a little bit thicker, and just lay them on, almost like lay them onto the surface, and then push them around into some of the shapes that you want to see. So that's the what I call the flow texture type of technique. This real thick paint, just laying it on, pushing it around, revealing. I do just as much lifting off as I do applying the color. Okay, so you have several lessons. There's from I do from the Edwardian florals through the wild roses, and of course to this flow texture rose. Okay, and just give you an idea with some of those. But it's beautiful. Beautiful. Look at the movement that you get into a petal that's like that by pushing those colors around, and you can get this transparency look very easy. So there's all different kinds of ways. Okay, have some fun with it, and it works. The most important thing in all of that really is that fusion brush. That brush is so soft that you can do that without digging. Without the synthetic will just dig a hole with you, and you might as well not even try it with a synthetic. You really need to use a fusion. Okay, thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed it. Give the books a try. If you have any other kind of question, you can always email us at the studio, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. Visit us on the forums at globalartsupply.com. We have free forums on there with questions and teachers and all kinds of stuff going on there all the time. Jump over to globalartsupply.com, and we'll see you over there onto the forums, and share your paintings. We'd like to see them, and let's talk fun and let's talk painting. Okay, enjoy the book, and I'll look forward to painting with you again soon here at Chance in our studio. You have a great painting day. Bye-bye.